seems as though, you know, we're surviving. Some of us are thriving, some of us not so much. So I kind of designed some tips to help us all as we go through COVID-19, and also provide a space if anybody has any questions or there's something you want to talk about, you know, that we can share during the webinar. So Jamila, can I share my screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and share your screen.
All right. So I have some, I guess, pointers. And so sometimes it's good to see information. So I'll be talking over some of the points, but just so that you can see a little bit about, you know, what I'm saying. All right, thanks, Jamila. I got it. All right. Let's go to slideshow from current slide. All right. So managing your mental health through COVID-19. So my first question is, anybody can answer, you can put it in the chat. What is the first thing you're looking forward to do when this lockdown is over? So when the doors open, what are we looking forward to do? You can put it in the chat or unmute your mic if you want.
The hairdresser.
Hairdresser. Wingdings. Oh yes, to the beach. I miss the beach.
My beach, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Place of solitude, the beach.
Yeah. Beach and a bar. All right, beach. So we are all missing the beach. Some of us in Barbados, we're missing Shafat and the wingdings, everything. So it's really important, first of all, to start thinking about what you're going to do when it's over. And that's important, you know, to kind of plan, okay, well, when this is over, there's something I want to do for myself. And for some of us, it's the beach. And making sure that you actually follow through as well as a gift to yourself. You've survived the lockdown, and at least it's a little peace, you know, a little peace of mind. Sometimes it's hard to think about, you know, the future, especially when we feel like we've been in lockdown forever. But the one thing that I want you to keep reminding yourself as well is that this is not going to be forever, and there will be an end. So it's really good to think about the future and what you're going to do. So those, for some people, it's those wingdings and Shafet all in the same day. And for Alan, of course, the bar, I see a lot of people talking about asking the government to give back rum. So I guess, Alan, that's something that you're looking forward to. All right. So the real question is, why should we focus on our mental health? Now, mental health happens to be one of those things that we think about at the end. When we are extremely exhausted, extremely stressed out, then we think, you know what, I should have taken care of my mental health. So thank you, BYGC, for hosting this session, because it is very important that we start to look at how could the lockdown due to COVID really affect us. And the truth is, early o'clock, people started to talk about feeling anxious. And anxiety, it's one of those emotions that it can motivate us at first, especially if we have a deadline for an assignment. But it's also one of those emotions that can have a negative impact. But then we also have to think about things like self-care, because without self-care, you're looking at a dangerous slope of things like burnout, for example. So the real thing is that if we don't take the time to acknowledge and take care of our mental health, our bodies will take it back for us. And usually that's in the form of burnout. So it's really important that you pay attention to how you're feeling, a lot of the emotions that are going through you, and then being able to manage those emotions. Now, I had seen this cartoon that I liked, because it really hit the nail on the head as far as what we're all going through. So it says, coronavirus hit me hard: insomnia, heart palpitations, headache, shortness of breath, and I don't even have it. And this is for all of us who may be feeling a little anxious. When I was doing one of the webinars, I had mentioned that when coronavirus first started, like if they said a new symptom, I was like, oh my gosh, am I getting this symptom? All of a sudden, I thought I had a fever. Like every day, I thought I had a fever, to the point where my mother-in-law bought me a thermometer, and I was like, here, because I kept asking them, you sure? Because she's a nurse. I kept asking her, you want to feel me just to make sure that nothing is wrong? And so a lot of people have actually been having that experience. And that really comes with the anxiety of the whole coronavirus as well. So there are all these other effects that we don't really talk about, but it is a very stressful situation. And if you are feeling anxious or stressed out, it's okay. You're living through a pandemic, and it's okay to feel anxious, and it's okay to have negative feelings. But now we need to talk about moving those negative feelings into positive emotions and positive feelings as well. And sometimes it's easier said than done. Now, this is my mantra for most of my presentations. Even before COVID, I really like to talk to people about self-care. You wouldn't let this happen to your phone. Don't let it happen to you either. Self-care is a priority and not a luxury. We have to make time to take care of ourselves, and that must be a priority. Once we put this self-care as a priority, you'll find lots of things starting to fall into place in our lives as well, and we're able to handle stress a little better. So a lot of us have been feeling all these emotions, and the Harvard Business Review released an article, and it hit the nail on the head. What am I feeling? Yes, it's anxiety, but there are lots of other emotions that I'm experiencing that I really don't understand. And so the answer is this concept of anticipatory grief. We are grieving a lot of things that for right now, we've lost. So the loss of normalcy. As much as I hate getting up early and going to work, it was normal. And now, the new normal is turning on my screen and teaching, or seeing a patient. But things aren't the way they used to be. And so that is a loss that we're trying to grasp. Then the loss of connection. Before, I could call my friends and say, okay guys, let's go out this place, or let's go meet up. And now, we can't. And even after the lockdown is over, will we still feel comfortable hugging and having a connection through touch the way we did before? And so that's another loss that we're trying to deal with. And then, of course, the loss of certainty. And how do we schedule something? I did an interview, and then I spoke about it on a webinar. I was supposed to get married on April 2nd, and the wedding had to be postponed. And I chose a date, and now it looks like maybe that date may not work either. And so we can't, even to set a date, we're having this loss of certainty as well. And so, that can be a little disheartening, that can be a little stressful, but the message is that we can manage it, and we're all in it together. So how we react to COVID-19, it's going to be different as individuals, but the idea is that we're in it together. And that's why webinars like what BYDC is doing is really important, so we can get information out there, we can share, and we understand, we're part of a community. It's not me alone. So I'm going to just go through 5 quick tips to, help manage mental health. And then I'm going to open up for any questions, or if anybody just wants to share how they've been coping. So the first one is to beware of negative thoughts. Anytime you are exposed to a negative emotion like anxiety, it opens the door to a lot of negative thoughts. This one has, I must be perfect, I'm not worthy, I can't do it, will I survive this? All these different negative thoughts come up. And so it's really important to first recognize when your thoughts are being negative. And that's when you're just bombarded with negativity in your thinking, even in how you speak. And so one of the tips sometimes is to really watch how we say things. So instead of saying, this is never going to end, an alternative is, we don't know when the lockdown is going to be over, but I'm going to use this time to do ... And then when the lockdown is over, I'll just ... And so you can fill it in. And the important thing is, and that's why I didn't give an example, is the ... in that sentence is individual. What do you want to use the time for? What I want to use it for is not going to be something Marie is going to want to use it for example. But think about some things that you want to do and try to get your thinking around, yes, this is a not so good situation, but I'm going to find the silver lining in it. And so it's really important to not only watch how we're thinking, but also try to shape how we speak as well. And to do things that will lift our spirits, whether it's TV, whether it's calling someone. Lately, I found listening to music has been really helpful. So you find really what works for you. The next one is to protect your mental space. And this one is really important. And it really talks about the balance of news, work, and recreation. If you listen to the news nonstop, especially American news, you will get anxious. And so when COVID-19 happened, first started to emerge, and we're listening to the news, the lockdown just started, a lot of people reported just feeling anxious every time you got the alert that the Prime Minister is going to make a statement. And so right now, maybe the anxiety has subsided because we're getting used to it, but you still have to protect what you watch. All the negativity isn't going to be helpful. So choose a time where you will watch the news, then you do work, but then also choose time for recreation and fun activities. But just make sure you're not having an information overload as well. The third one is to create a routine, and also to be creative with that routine. Creating routines are really helpful just in general. And again, this is very individual. For some people, planning your day on the hour is helpful. For others, that's not going to work. So for some, you may have to say, you know what, I'm going to set a goal every day. And my goal for today is whatever it is. I found for me what works is I have maybe like a social goal, a work goal, and a personal goal. So personal goal, maybe, you know what, today I really need to comb my hair. A social goal will be I'll call one of my friends. And then a work goal would be, you know, this is a particular task I want to complete. But it's good to have a balance and also to have a routine. If not, you'll just feel like you're just stuck in a rut, just sitting around waiting for the time, you know, to pass by. For those who are working, and that is schoolwork or working from home, this is really important, because if you're not careful, you're going to work from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. Because before, you'd get in the bus, get in the car, and go home. But now you're at home, you're working, and there's no set time limit, and burnout can creep in very easily. So it's really important to set some limits as far as, okay, I'm going to finish what I'm doing at this particular time, and I'm going to switch to another task. If not, burnout is going to be a challenge. And I know a lot of people have been saying that they are experiencing burnout already. But also still be creative. Add in your routine something new you'd like to do, whether it's maybe plant something. I'm all about adult coloring now. So if it's art, if it's to read a book, if it's to cook. So Jamila was talking about cooking. There's so many people who, like, now I don't even have to watch cooking channel, just on my feed. I'm just seeing so many people cooking. I'm having like creative recipes. So that's also good to do, a good thing to be creative. I see Jamila's comment about Roshana. I was gonna say I have a friend, but I'm just gonna call out Roshana now. Roshana and I have been friends for years. And I never hear Roshana cook. I never know Roshana could cook. All of a sudden in a chat we're in, I see Roshana cooking lamb chops and all these different things. And so I find it to be so funny, but lots of people are having that experience. You're not doing something you used to do before, but now you're taking the time to learn something new. So it's really important to just appreciate that now you may have the time to be creative and just, you know, try to do something new for yourselves. It could be fun. The fourth one is to take care of your body. sometimes we leave ourselves for last a little too much. And in this time, we're not going to the gym, we're not necessarily walking anywhere except for maybe to the kitchen or the bathroom or wherever. So it's really important to also set into your schedule the same routine I was talking about before, to do some exercises. And we do have lots of people on Instagram who are doing free or discounted workout classes. So I did do a couple of them. I think it's Vibes 25 I did. And then there's Dance Fit 246. And these are dance exercise classes. But they were very, very good, very helpful. And I did it with some friends who were also doing it. And afterwards, we just, had a quick chat about it. But, it is good to find new things to do. If that's not your thing, YouTube. I am a believer in yoga. Yoga is very, very relaxing. At first, I remember a friend of mine, Carrie Ann, she was introducing me to yoga, and I told her, Carrie Ann, I don't bend that way. That's not for me. No, thank you. And I gave her so much slack on it, and I did it, and it has been very rewarding for me. So yoga also helps you to relax, and there are loads of yoga videos on YouTube that you can look into, or just find an exercise that you like. And also, as best as you could, especially with shopping being a little tricky, try to eat your fruits as much as you can. Also try to practice portion control as well, because it's really easy. The fridge is there. We can also be stress eating as well, and just consuming food that, wouldn't be good for us. So still mind what we eat. And then the fifth one is to stay connected but distant, and that just means physically distant. And there are apps now, there are all these different tools that we can use to stay connected. One of the things that a lot of people have been talking about was using the word social distancing versus physical distancing. And so we can still be social and we can still be connected. So every now and again, just make sure, you call up a friend, call up a family member to chat. Schedule that into your routine. That's really important. That connection is still important, even if it can't be physical. Then there's also the house party app for those who do games night. This is a really good app for you to use. Just call up some friends and say, okay, guys, if you have popcorn, popcorn, if you have chips, whatever you want, and we're gonna have a games night. And it's different from what it used to before, but it's still useful to try, because that connection is really, really important. So that's my top 5. And now over to anybody in the chat. If you wanted to share, how have you guys been coping? What have you been doing? Is there anything in the slide you wanna chat about, or anything you want to ask? You can unmute your mic, or you can type it in the chat box. I'm saying Megan is awesome. Yes, from Vibes 25, she was really good. Right. Reading is actually very good. It helps to de-stress as well. I've been thinking about, started writing. Well, that's different. So that's very good, Melanie. And we're looking forward to reading the book, or maybe you'll put it on a blog for us to read. Journaling is also important, for sure. Yes, journaling helps. Even in therapy, it's a big thing for me. Roshana, of course. I've been eating all I see, working from home, doing yoga. I enrolled in 3 classes. Okay. Just make sure to try to manage everything, but I like the yoga for sure. Journaling as well.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes, I was going to say also, I would agree with most of what you would have outlined. What I found helpful also is before you start the day, you try and or take a quiet moment to meditate, so as to mentally plan what your goals, like the ones you outlined. So during the meditation, you would find at least one thing to be appreciative of. because
Mm-hmm.
I find like showing gratitude really helps to ease stress and anxiety. So
Yeah.
choose something to be grateful for and kind of focus on that throughout your day. And
Mm-hmm.
then, as the other things you would have outlined, choose someone to help or to contact, to communicate. And regular exercise has been helpful as well. So, as you said, pick a schedule and kind of stick to it. And
Mm-hmm.
also, your personality type would depend on much how you deal with the stress. Some
Mm-hmm.
persons can handle stress very well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you work based on your personality type and what works for you. Music has been helpful, like you said, and regular exercise.
Yeah.
And of course, we enjoy the plenty of rest that we are getting at this point in time.
Yes, very good points, Maria. Actually, in my extended presentation, it's a good thing that you mentioned that I do mention gratitude and waking up and talk, saying, today, there are three things I'm grateful for. Because gratitude has this ability to ground us. So when everything else seems a little out of whack, when we sit and think about what we're grateful for, sometimes it calms us. But another part of it that I didn't mention here is the idea of social interest, and that is helping others. So even if you know somebody, if you are in a position to help and you know somebody who needs help, you could, even if it's a top up, even if it is to give them a call, or if you can drop groceries by their door, that's also really helpful, because at this time we have to be our brother's keeper. We have to look out for each other. So that's really important as well. So I see people in the chat talking about singing, and that Alan can't sing, which I know for sure he cannot sing. But if that's calming you, very good. And Risa talking about singing. Singing is another tool as well that calms us, even like dancing as well. I think that's why a lot of people have been drawn to the Vibes 25 class and Dance Fit. I think it's Dance Fit 246. Lots of people have been drawn to those classes because dancing um, can also help as well. But I will try out the meditation on a morning. I really, to be honest, I haven't really done that in a while, but I will try the meditation. I see Marita suggesting it, and so did Maria. So it's really good to hear everybody's thoughts too, because people can give us helpful information. So thanks for that. Anybody else wants to share anything that you've been doing? All right, so Marita's sharing some information. Louise Sam has free sessions at 9 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So thanks for that, Marita. So we'll check it out. And the good thing about it is that we get to try new things. So even as you take a list of things that people suggest, try new things in this time, you'll find it to be very helpful. Do we have a comment? I think somebody unmuted their mic. All right, making a list of everything you're doing, I'm going to do afterwards. That's important, because remember, you want to continue to start thinking about when this is over, because it won't last forever. So, we want to keep our minds going to what we're going to do, and be good to yourself as well. If you're saying, you know what, I really miss the beach, make sure to take time to have that beach trip. All right. Okay. So seeing that we have no more questions, I'm going to go on to my next part. So when I'm finished the presentations, I've been doing some challenges. And so I've given you a challenge. I've been doing it with other groups. So it's not unique, but it's been helpful. And so here's a challenge for everyone here to do, and you can encourage your friends to do it as well. I didn't put to tag BYDC, which I should. So I will try to redo it and send it to you, Jamila. So I will look at it. So now just to go through it, and then I'll check back to see if we have any other questions. So gratitude is the attitude, is day 1. And so when you wake up, you're gonna post 5 things you're grateful for. Day 2 is to exercise and do a 30-minute workout and post it. And we wanna see sweat. If you're doing, well, I don't usually sweat during yoga, but if you're gonna do yoga or meditation, you know, you can send us a picture of a cute pose. And then there's to declutter a room, your inbox, your phone. Right now I'm getting that notification saying that I can't take any more pictures because of my storage. If anybody else is having that, it's time to declutter. Random act of kindness, this goes back to social interest. Just do something nice for somebody on day 4. Day 5, be social but distant. So call someone who makes you laugh, take a picture and post about it. And then day 6, create and post your creation, whether it's a meal or art or planting a seed or something. That's what we're gonna do for day 6. And so we just wanna keep the conversation going with everybody who's in the chat. So even if you post, please tag BYDC. I'm gonna do this over so that they can post. Please tag BYDC so that they can follow as well, you know, how you're doing. Even if you have some questions or if you want to talk about the experience, you know, feel free to do that as well. So yes, that's it. And I hope that we all do the challenge and post pictures. So Roshana, we're looking forward to seeing you cook as we have been discussing. That's something new. So I've been trying to get Roshana into the air fryer world. Marita's been posting a lot of air fryer stuff. So we're gonna try some new recipes. All right. Roshana says she feels bullied. Okay. All right. So to answer a question, I guess it's a private question. So I like that response, Jamila. This is a safe space. So about becoming a psychologist. So you can ask any question you want in the chat. Feel free to ask me anything. So if it's in the Caribbean, I have a master's degree in clinical psychology. So you choose your discipline and, you know, you start with a bachelor's in psychology and then go towards the master. So I chose clinical psychology, but there are other disciplines offered in the Caribbean and worldwide. You have applied and counseling psychology. So that's where you start off at your bachelor's and then on to master. So you'd need a master's to practice in the Caribbean or a doctorate, of course, while in North America, you'll need a doctorate to practice. So that's to answer a private question. But yeah. Any other questions before I go? Anybody wants to share anything interesting? Right, so Marita has been giving us lots of tools today. So she's also saying to check out the air fryer chefs. So I used the time to get an air fryer from Costuless, I think I got it from. And that's been an interesting experience. So if anybody's interested, or if you have an air fryer, there's some cool recipes there for you. Yep, that's it. All right, I'll turn back over to Jamila.
Okay, thanks, Krista. We really appreciate you stopping by today to help us through this whole process. It has been an extremely challenging time for most of us. So we really appreciate you taking time out on a Sunday afternoon to help us out. Are there any questions or comments? Questions or comments? You can unmute your mic or you can put them in the chat. Okay, so if there are no questions or comments, I want to thank you very much for coming. and attending our webinar. The replay will be sent via email, and the next webinar will be posted on our Instagram page. So just stay tuned to our Instagram page. It's BYDC246 on Instagram. Thank you very much for coming, and see you next time.